Welcome to another edition of Boxed In with Yahoo Sports here. I'm the Honorable Judge, C. Haynes here. The topic of today is, which NBA player was more unpredictable? The Hall of Famer, Dennis Rodman, or Metta World Peace, formerly known as Ron Artest? LaJethro is going to be arguing on behalf of Dennis Rodman and Mr. Goodwill on behalf of Metta World Peace. And we're going to start off with opening arguments. And I'm going to say this right now. I will not tolerate anybody being hostile, anybody talking over anybody. If your family members get too rowdy in the background, I'll be kicking people out. It will be order in my courtroom. You got something to say, Mr. Goodwill? Okay, wipe that ugly smirk off your face. All right, let's start with you, Mr. Goodwill, since you started stuff early on this afternoon. Go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen of the court, what you saw was not a gavel. What you saw was something that Chris has never used in his entire life because Chris doesn't cook. No, you have never used that. Not maybe you have, but not in a cooking sense. What I will say is, I will prove to you beyond a shadow of a doubt that Metta World Peace, formerly the artist known as Ron, is the most unpredictable player in the history of the NBA. We can talk about his changed names. We can talk about job applications. We can talk about hostile takeovers, as he did in the Palace of Auburn Hills in 2004. I will prove to you, not just that, but that Dennis Rodman is more of a kind and gentle soul that went a little wayward. Not unpredictable, but I will let LaJethro handle his end. But on my end, Judge Haynes, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I will prove to you without a shadow of a doubt that Metta World Peace clearly has no competition in the theater of the absurd. Your witness.
First, I want to say I left my mom at home today, so there won't be any outbreaks at like the last time. All right, out of respect to your courtroom, you feel me?
Thank you.
But I want to point out, number one, I'm a fan of both of these guys. They're both athletes, and I find them super endearing. But I feel like Metta World Peace, his responses are more emotional. A lot of the things he did was coming from emotion, and I think that makes him more predictable because the things he did almost made sense because of where it came from. I feel like Dennis Rodman is searching for self, and he wasn't bound by concepts of masculinity, sexuality, religion, and I think because of that boundlessness, it made him more unpredictable because, he was willing to go anywhere on this earth, or he'd go to Mars to find himself, or he'd go to North Korea, But I think, it's not even close who was more unpredictable. And that's Dennis Rodman.
Okay, now first I want to say, before we move on to our next feature of this topic, I want to say, LaJethro, thank you for coming to my courtroom clean shaven, looking nice and dapper there. Now we're moving on to the next thing. Who was more feared on the court, Dennis Rodman or Metta World Peace? And I'm going to start with you this time, Mr. LaJethro, the clean shaven brother.
I think if you're afraid of getting slept, it's Metta World Peace. We're talking basketball, not boxing. People talk a lot of trash on the court. They don't really have to back it up a lot of times. You don't really have to get in fights. People break that stuff up. You know what I'm saying? But Rodman was arguably the best defender on the Bulls. There's three all-world defenders there, and Rodman can guard. He guarded Jordan with the Pistons. He guarded Shaq, with the Bulls. You know what I mean? And there was one time he got 30, and on top of that, guarding the best player, he's also, will give you one time he gave a team 34 rebounds. 18 of those were offensive rebounds. Can you imagine that film room the day after you gave up 18 extra possessions to another team? That's embarrassing. You know what I'm saying? So you knew you're gonna fight for every single inch of everything you got on the court with Dennis Rodman. And the thing is, he's not gonna give up. Not only is he tougher, he's stronger than you. He's a guy that's never gonna back down. And I mean, that's the person. If you're a hooper, that's who you fear going against because you're going to have to earn every inch that night.
That is all well and good. And Judge Haynes, in the age of social distancing, you can't even show up to the court looking clean shaven. So I did not want to disrupt the orders of the greater land by showing up looking dapper. What I will say about Metta World Peace is, who's more feared than the guy who broke Michael Jordan's ribs with an elbow? Now, Dennis Rodman has done a lot of different things. He's an irritant. He's a gnat. He would get on your last nerve and he would grab every offensive rebound. But he actually never inflicted harm on anybody. Metta World Peace broke Michael Jordan's ribs, the greatest player of all time. He broke the man's ribs, and it wasn't even in a sanctioned NBA game. It was a pickup game. Also, if we're talking about a guy who's a little bit unpredictable and feared on the floor, Game 6 of the 2004 Eastern Conference Finals, the last 2 minutes of the game, the Pacers have to win to send it to a Game 7 on their home floor. He gives Rip Hamilton a flagrant foul, hitting him in his face, which almost could have broken his nose for the third time. Hamilton had on a mask at that point. And here's the thing about that. You have to win that game. The NBA Finals are on the line, and you take that opportunity to inflict harm on an opponent that's going to cost you possession, 2 points, and the ball again. Now, to me, if someone's willing to do that with all of that on the line, that person is clearly not wrapped the same way everybody else is wrapped. Now, the film room is one thing, and to that, you are absolutely right, LaJethro. But what about the training room? Because that's where Ron Artest is sending you.
All right. Now we're going to pivot to the next question I have for you, gentlemen. I'm going to start with you, LaJethro, on this end. Who would you rather have on your team? Metta World Peace or Hall of Famer Dennis Rodman?
Hall of Famer Dennis Rodman. I mean, that speaks for itself. But he doesn't just affect the game. I think Dennis affects the game more than Metta. You know what I'm saying? Metta's a world-class defender, a great offensive player too. You know what I mean? Those years with the Pacers, he was a dog. You know what I mean? But also Dennis did all the things that you hate to do as a hooper. You know what I'm saying? Like, not only is he going to help you win by getting, fighting for those rebounds, guarding the best player, you know what I'm saying, which is are things that
Objection, Your Honor. Objection.
Objection sustained.
I object to the line of questioning. This is about the absurdness of both players, not about the effectiveness of both players. I feel like the topic itself is slightly unfair and tilted towards LaJethro.
Objection denied. Go ahead, LaJethro. Proceed, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Judge C. Haynes. Not only is he's going to guard the best player, you know what I'm saying? He's going to give you 18 of them rebounds, you know what I'm saying? And you don't have to do all the dirty stuff you don't want to do. As a hooper, you just want to get the buckets, and that's what I'll do all this stuff. You just play, get buckets. I'm gonna do all the stuff that you want to do on the other side. And I mean, that's as a teammate, you love to see that. You know what I mean? Somebody's going to give you everything they have on the court, as well as doing all the dirty stuff that you don't want to do as well.
Mr. Goodwill, you have the floor.
I feel like this is I would like to file a protest.
Mr. Goodwill, my ruling hasn't been conveyed yet. There's no need to even proceed to anything like that.
I am performing under protest. So even if I win today, even if I win the ruling, I am still filing under protest. The criteria for unpredictable player, who you'd rather have, has nothing to do with who is unpredictable. I think those are two totally different arguments. But
Mr. Goodwill, the question is, who would you rather have on your team? You are delaying our courtroom. I have another trial in 10 minutes. Please proceed with your argument.
I would actually rather have Dennis Rodman on my team, Your Honor. I am a native of Detroit. I've seen Dennis Rodman at his best before the hair colorings, before the tattoos, when Dennis Rodman was the best and most versatile defender in the history of the game.
Order in the court.
But that has nothing to do with being unpredictable.
Yeah, but Mr. Goodwill, hold on. You are Mr. Ron Artest is sitting right next to you, and you're basically telling the courtroom that you would rather have LaJethro's client. You would rather have him on your team? What do we do? You know what?
Because
my ruling. Hold on. This is over. This is over. Mr. Ron Artest, Metta World Peace, I apologize for the attorney that you hired. He clearly did not do you a disservice right here. Look, I'm going to embark my ruling right now. Look, I have my ruling.
I object, Your Honor.
Order in the court. Mr. Goodwill, this is over. This is over. My ruling is this. First of all, I have two things to say before I convey my ruling. First of all, your couch look like it hasn't been cleaned since you bought it. And number two, your mustache look like it keeps getting in your mouth and you're not able to speak properly. Now, with all that said, I'm ruling in favor of LaJethro Jenkins of why Dennis Rodman is the most unpredictable player in NBA history. That's my ruling. Court is adjourned. Good day, everybody.
I didn't have to bring up the fact that he left in the middle of the season.
And I didn't get a chance to bring up the fact that Metta World Peace applied for a job at Circuit City as a rookie with the Chicago Bulls. When we're talking about unpredictable, we're talking
Just
about
in case. Backup plan. I get it. That's understandable.
And we're talking about the player who ran into the stands. I have yet to see, and I think we need a new judge. I have yet to see how on the floor who you'd rather have plays into unpredictability, the criteria that was being said.
I want to talk about him running to the stands, though. If somebody throws something on your face, are you not running into the stands? I think that is almost a normal response. I think that because it's guttural, he didn't think before he ran into the stands. I mean, Steven Jackson, there was a bunch of players that were fighting with him.
Hold on. LaJethro, are you defending his client?
No, I'm not defending him. I'm saying he's predictable. I'm saying what he did is almost predictable. His response was predictable.
Judge Haynes, he is defending the indefensible. My client was penalized for 75 games, lost $8 million in salary, I believe, because he did an indefensible act. Now, if I were Judge Haynes, I would take umbrage to my court being insulted in that way, because he should look at Dennis Rodman and be properly defending his defendant. The same way as you penalize me, Judge Haynes, you should be penalizing. We should all be held in contempt right now.
We're talking unpredictability. I was talking about
Judge Haynes. Where's that gap? Where's that gavel, Judge Haynes?
What he did was predictable. A lot of people responded in the same way.
Because
you know
if
he didn't run into the stands after getting hit in the face with ice, I would find that unpredictable. I would think that Ron Artest would run into the stands after getting hit in the face with ice. That's predictable.
Have you ever seen a player lay down on the scores table throughout a game, Judge Haynes? Have we ever seen a player throughout the course of a game with time left on the clock? Have we ever seen a player put on a headset that you and I, that the three of us are all wearing, to jump onto the team broadcast just to listen, to find his quote-unquote zen? Not to say that he asked for it, but no other player was going to get hit with a cup of ice because no other player was going to be that close to the fans aside from courtside seats.
What other player was going to take a vacation in the middle of a playoff run? In the middle of it was the middle of
it was during the regular season.
The regular season on the
wait. I got something for you.
Okay. Well, wait. Let me finish the statement. You can say what you want to say. But look. Then he had the most famous person in the world chasing him, waking him up. Carmen Electra, one of the most famous women in the world, hiding under sheets. And what's crazy is Phil Jackson understood, because that's how ridiculous Rodman is. And when we heard the story, we weren't that shocked because we expect the unexpected from Dennis Rodman. And I think that's the only player in the world that could have gotten away with that in that way.
Au contraire, corn fritter. Metta World Peace. Before he became Metta World Peace, he was Ron Artest. And sometime around the time of the brawl, Ron Artest wanted time off. He wanted a vacation from the Indiana Pacers to promote the R&B group Allure. He didn't want a break to go to Las Vegas and blow off some steam. He wanted a break so he can go out here and be Sean Puff Diddy Combs and get on the touring circuit. He wanted to be Suge Knight. Dennis Rodman just needed a break. Ron Artest wanted to do a completely different job. Now, you tell me who goes on to the Today Show as an NBA player in the moment. We didn't find out about this in hindsight, gentlemen. We found out about this in real time. We found out about Dennis Rodman 20 years after the fact, which lets you know that the team did not find it that unpredictable or that wild because they kept it under wraps. This was Dennis being
different
Dennis.
Different time period.
But in 2004, there was no social media, Judge Haynes. In 2004, there was no Twitter, no Snapchat, no TikTok, no TweetDeck. No, there was none of that in 2004. Yet, Ron Artest went on national TV on the Today Show to tell people, I want to take time off from my team to go promote this R&B group. I want to take time off from the team that's paying me $8 million a year right around the same time that he wound up going into the stands. Judge Haynes, I would also venture to say to you that was this a calculated risk by Ron Artest to run into the stands because he really just wanted a break to go produce some R&B music?
Objection, speculation. Speculation.
That's been sustained. I'm sorry to say, Mr. Goodwill, my ruling hasn't changed. It's still the same ruling that was 10 minutes ago. I just wanted to listen to you two continue to go on. We can continue this for as long as we want, but we're going to end it right here. I have ruled. This has been another edition of Boxed In on Yahoo Sports. Please be sure to check us out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Court is adjourned.